Welcome back to another episode of Ask the Attorney. I'm your host, Alex Alexander with the Keiko Ad Agency. Today I'm excited to bring Dalia Anise with the Legacy Life Plan. Dalia, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me.
Excellent. So, you and I talked a little bit in the break before the show, and we talked about some things that most people don't talk about. Can you tell us a bit first about your company, the firm, and the website, and then tell us a little bit about the planning that goes on? Go ahead, please.
Okay, so I'm an attorney with Legacy Life Plan, and we do estate planning. Some people think that estate planning is just about creating wills and trusts and powers of attorneys and so forth. And of course it is, and these are very important parts of estate planning. But most people don't think about what happens after you create a plan, what happens after you create a trust. And most of the time, most attorneys, they after all the papers are signed, they give the client all the documents and they give them instructions on how to fund a trust. Unfortunately, a lot of clients still have no idea what to do after that point. And this is something that I do for my clients. I do trust funding. And if you can imagine, a trust is an example of a trust is like it's a box that holds your most precious assets. And you need to protect the assets, you need to put all these assets inside the box. That means that you have to title your assets in the name of the trust. If you don't do that, then the trust is not doing what it's supposed to, and you're really not protecting anything. So a lot of people, a lot of clients, they start doing it and they find it very technical, and then they put it off and they forget about it. So this is really, really important for a trust to be funded in order to do what it's supposed to do, which is protect against creditors or whatever the client's wishes are.
So, and please understand, I'm layman. So if an individual has the trust set up, but again, they don't put the product, they don't have the products or the items within the trust, it would go to a estate at that point, and then that's when things could be used against them. Is that correct?
Yes. Well, yes, and it will go to probate. The idea of putting your titling things into a trust is to avoid probate. And then someone passes, and then they discover that they have a lot of assets that were outside that protection, that box. And then it's a big mess for the family, and then the court has to decide a whole lot of stuff. You don't want the Florida courts to decide or make decisions for you.
Fair enough. So the best thing I could possibly do is, of course, contact you and be like, hey, look, we want to make sure that if something happens to me or my wife, that these things are taken care of, so that our children don't fight and whatever balances or debts we owe to other people aren't taken away from their inheritance. We have that kind of thing.
Exactly. And I mean, some estate planning attorneys don't really like to do trusts. They're a little bit messy, and they're just, they don't like to do them. But I really feel that it's very important to give your clients that choice if they want to fund the trust themselves or if they need help doing it, with my help.
I mean, essentially, you're just saying that you want to do what's best for the client, not just easiest for you.
Yes, definitely. That's why I'm in this.
I like that.
I'm in this business.
So, we ask all these crazy questions when people are interviewed, and one that I've never asked, and it's, would you mind sharing with me maybe a failure of something, and then maybe why it failed, but what you learned from it or how you were able to pivot it?
Okay, a particular failure. Well, when COVID hit, it was a big surprise to all of us. And especially for me, I felt, I didn't feel, it wasn't just about me, it was about my family. I have elderly parents. And when things got really bad, I got really, really scared for them. I started panicking, and I started, I wouldn't even let them go out. I was like, you can't go out of your house. I will buy you whatever you need. I will take care of all your needs. I was really, really scared. I wouldn't go to their house. I would drop off everything from outside the house. And especially my mom, she's diabetic and she's got heart issues. So I wasn't afraid for myself, but I was afraid of getting the virus and being a carrier and accidentally killing them. To be very honest, I was really, really scared, and I started doing things that were really to the extreme. And then one day I was dropping off the groceries, and from afar I told her not to come close to me, and I found my mom just crying, and she's like, "I want to hug you." And I found them to be in a really bad mental state. So I had to take a step back. I felt like, okay, you're just reacting to the situation. You're not really thinking clearly of what's the best way to handle this problem. I mean, it's a problem. It was a problem for a lot of people. And I went home. I discovered that they were very depressed. So if COVID's not going to kill them, then this depression is definitely, going to kill them.
Right.
So I had to take a step back and create a healthy way of dealing with their situation where they were comfortable, they had a good mindset, and I had to reset my mindset, not to go into this panic mode, to take care of them. And I pivoted. You have to, whenever you get into a really difficult situation you've never dealt with before, the mind just starts panicking. And then you need to take a step back and think things through. What's the best situation? What's the best way to handle this problem without, getting affected by the media and everybody around you? So,
well, you know what? I think that number one, you just showed that you're a real person, and sometimes people are afraid of lawyers because they don't think they're real. I personally think that what you've shared is incredible, and it's a great lesson in everything we do. And when things are different, you have to take a different approach, right? So I want to thank you very much for being on the show. And I want everybody to have the opportunity to learn more about you. So if you'd like to learn more about Dalia and the Legacy Life Plan, I want you to go to iwannabuzz.com. And we see you next time here on Buzz TV. Do something good for yourself and do something good for others.